I think if you pick up a lead, you better say the first thing, hey, listen, I'm the buyer's agent. You have to sign representation paperwork. I can't go out with you, this and this. And you know what's going to be? But people are like, no, I'm okay.
I wonder if there's going to
I'll just call direct. I'm okay.
I wonder if there's going to be like...
That's everybody's pitch. This is why we're in the problem. I had a title guy on like 3 weeks ago. And I said, the reason we're in this problem is because of Zillow leads.
Because they think they're calling the listing agent. I get it. Yeah.
Zillow's abuse of that, because listen, when I did a lot of stuff with Zillow, you know, the first thing Zillow trains you to tell people, hey, don't worry, you're not paying for me. That was straight out of this. That's their pitch. What's the 5 Ps? Do you remember it?
Proper preparation prevents poor performance.
There you go. It doesn't matter how much money we get. If we don't close, it's no money, right? So no close is no money. I'm everything that I am because of my dad's death. And I wouldn't be as successful without his death. Hello, welcome to the Jason Theory. We are in episode 5. This is a first for us. We have 2 guests because I am sometimes too boring. So this is like our little beer crew here, and we're gonna just talk about what's going on in the market, the NAR, agents that should be leaving the industry, agents that are good, that we wish there were more of. We're gonna just really take this next 45 minutes, and if you're interested in real estate, just actually be BSing about everything that's going on in the real estate market right now. So let's start, because I thought about this last night. First, introduce yourselves. John's been on before. So John.
I'm John Floros with Fulton Grace Realty.
Nick Nostos with Fulton Grace Realty.
And you guys are both
team leaders, 77 group.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
And you guys just are opening up an office in
Elmhurst.
Yep. That's it. All right, perfect. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
All right, so let's talk about this first. You guys do a decent amount, or maybe not, you tell me, of internet leads, because you guys have a very good software that provides leads.
Correct.
What are you telling people, and what are your thoughts, and how are you going to bring in those leads? I guess first thing I would ask is, what's the first thing you're going to say to people now that rules are going to be changing soon? So as a lead comes in, hey, we want to see this property, what is the first thing that's going to come out of your mouth? Make sure it's compliant.
Sign here. No. I guess the biggest thing is, do we even know? And I don't even know off the top of my head. Do we know? Can we do one-off showings and stuff? That's the biggest thing me and John always talk about.
I thought about that too. You could do one-offs, but think about this. If you do a one-off and they like it, and there's not a time element, they could just wait, because every contract has to have a close.
Close, correct.
So if you do a one-off, is it a one-off with a 6-month exclusive on that one-off? Are you guys going to try to do that? How do you hold people to this?
That's the hardest part. I mean, like right now, without the agreement being quote unquote required, the biggest thing is we just want to get the lead out, and we use that first appointment as like our kind of talk through our coffee meet, and then we kind of build a relationship that way and kind of grow it. So with this, I don't know. I mean, you could do the one-off, show that property, and then then we can work on that. I don't know. Me and John are trying to go through that.
Did you say to him, hey, here's, if you buy this, you owe me X amount of dollars, or hey, this one-off has a commission, I'm getting paid from the other side, but there may be times when you're going to have to pay me. It's hard.
It's complicated when you're just talking to an internet lead and they want instant gratification. They click on a button and they just want to go out.
They're not looking to hire somebody at that point.
They're not. But a lot of times, even before this NAR lawsuit, we would take an online lead out, and just like Nick said, that was our opportunity to interview them, get to know them, show them our value as to why they should go back out and look at more homes with us again. They're not going to buy the first home they see usually. So like kind of trying to approach this now is like, we don't want to go without having something signed, because what if that one property is the one that they're going to end up buying? We don't have an agreement in place. So I think like we're going to have to get like some kind of temporary, like you said, it could be 7 days. It could be an exclusive just on that one property, and hope that, you know, like that one time we take them out, that we show them enough value that they'll sign something for 3 to 6 months. But we don't know how we're going to navigate it yet. Like, I don't think the buyers know. Because the buyers are used to clicking whenever.
Well, it's the website. I mean, you got to have your
17.
Yeah, you got to have your game.
Well, what's Zillow going to do? Like, they're going to find some quick solution to get buyers out, you know, with like you go on agents one time.
Yeah, and then what happens when agents figure out that they'll go out them one time and then just oh,
for that.
I don't have to pay you now? Like, are you going to send, another thing I thought about, we'll get back to that.
Yeah.
Another thing I thought about, we'll put it on the back burner, I just don't want to forget it. How do you send clients now to like an open house?
Yeah.
Somebody was talking about it. I saw
I
it.
wouldn't send one to an open house.
For any new agents or seasoned agents, open houses might be the best place now to get leads. Because, I mean, if someone comes in there, like, you shouldn't. I don't feel comfortable having my client go on Sunday, look at homes in Glenview.
Well, I
would.
did back in the day when you were like, you would email, hey, my client's coming here, this and this or this, but there's no more recurring costs. It's done.
Yeah. It's going to be.
Are they going to mark your name and say, I'm with Jason Stratton when they go to an open house?
And then that agent says, hey, we're not paying a co-op if you don't use an agent. Buy directly from us, you're going to get X amount of dollars. People are going to do that.
I had that happen already. So in the suburbs, Park Ridge, I won't name the brokerage. What they're doing is what I'm noticing. 3 initials. So they
Starts with an E, ends with a P.
yeah. And what they're doing is what I've noticed is the listing agent has like a URL for their website for like all their listings and doing auction style. They had a tent set up like it was a barbecue, and people were walking up, signing in. They're asking them, "Do you have a broker?" Yes. Okay. They literally said you're paying 3% commission to the buyer's agent. And then if you're not a broker, we can talk about it. That's what they were saying. So you go on their website, the buyers to put in the offer, and the price, let's say it's $575 was the list price. It got all the way, and it's on the market on the website for 5 days, like basically auction style, and you can see every offer that's coming in. So the two, Bob and Mary, were just fighting for each other, and then some guy, David, just swooped in last minute and got it. But offer was $668 plus 3% buyer commission. The actual offer was $690 almost. So the messed up part is you can't put an offer in lower than the previous offer. So for example, let's say
if you don't have a broker, you're still paying the same amount.
No, I think they're good. I think they're adjusting it. They're adjusting. Okay. Like what I saw was, here's your offer, here's the offer, here's agent compensation, here's your total offer.
But you don't know nothing about.
And the buyer has to put it in. The broker doesn't put it in. The buyer puts it in, and then you have to like register or some sort. I didn't do it because we didn't get that far. I just seeing it on the outside looking in. So it's kind of interesting. But the messed up part is, from what I understand, is you can't put an offer in lower than the previous offer. So let's say, example, John has a cash buyer for $600,000. I have a finance buyer for that can do $610,000, but $600,000 as is this, that, and the other cash. They won't even look. You can't even submit it. It has to be over the $610,000 or the previous offer.
But that's not the best for the seller.
Correct. I agree. It's just driving up, right?
The flaw of the system.
Yeah.
How they're doing it. It sounds like.
Again, I didn't get that far, so I don't know the ins and outs of it, but on the surface, that's what it looked like. It's crazy to me. So
it was where? What city?
That one was Park Ridge. But they all have
people just what people do, right? Like, just so people know, people put in offers that they know are that the appraisal is just gonna shut down.
Yeah.
Correct.
And they'll be like, hey, put an offer in so you get it. It'll go to the. I mean, I would never do this, but I know people do it. Just put an offer in, way over ask, and let the appraiser take it down. At least then you've got it and you've beat out everybody else.
People are asking these appraisal caps now. Literally, I'm getting sellers, listing agents literally saying, hey, offers only considered with appraisal gaps. No love letters, no this. Like,
well, the love letter's illegal. FYI.
Oh, I didn't know that. I don't like them anyways, but that's still.
I don't like to see them on the
They're illegal.
I never even thought about them being illegal.
They're illegal. Like, if you get a love letter, never give it to your seller, because the minute you give it to your seller and they don't take that offer, they could be
discriminatory.
You saw my letter. You knew I had 3 people, 3 boys or 2 girls. You knew my ethnicity, my this. You cannot give love letters.
A lot of the listings now you see on broker remarks, like no love letters.
Well, because it's illegal.
Yeah, I know, but you're seeing that more. But like earlier on this last couple of years with crazy multiple offers, people would just still send them attached.
Well, yeah, because you need a broker that actually knows that they're illegal. Like, they're literally handing their clients something that's going to get them sued, but they don't know because they're idiots.
Well, there's going to be a lot more lawsuits in general. Like, what you're going to probably see them too, like just where people are going to go into an open house and not realize that you're hosting the open house, you represent the seller, and then I walk in, you're like, I could rent a contract for you. I think there's going to be
shenanigans. The same way there were shenanigans the one way, there's going to be shenanigans the other way. But at least the way it was, the shenanigans, at some point, I think you as a buyer, you figured it out, man, By the time you go in as a buyer and the selling agent has you writing all these things and this, and you're locked in, you may not even know. Because they're going to pose it not as that I'm representing you. They're going to pose it as it's cheaper. That's how.
Oh, to not use a broker. Yeah, for sure they are. But is it cheaper when you're getting no advice? You're not getting any kind of guidance. It's just,
well, you don't know because you could be paying 5% over market, right? Even though you think it's cheaper, but it's really not because you're not being told what the actual comparables are.
Oh.
And the person running the comps, their job is to get the buyer, the seller, the most money.
for sure. No, I know it's a conflict. I mean, we all see it. It's going to be interesting. I mean, I think it's a good time to leave in July and August and just get the hell out of here for
Come back.
a month and a half and just.
I'm leaving. I'm coming back August 16th. Ready for the August 17th.
Yeah, and let
that when
everyone
it
else
starts?
deal with it.
Yeah, August 17th. Yeah.
But but it's still proposed. Doesn't it have to be?
I think I don't know. We're under the assumption that it's happening. That's the IIN. At least.
And then the Northwest MLS
I know.
said, "F you."
Yep.
Freedom of speech.
We're still gonna put the compensation.
I think it's going to domino effect. I hope it domino effects into the other MLSs, MRED included.
Yeah, they called it like an intermediary, like MLS. I don't know which other area it was, and it's freedom of speech. And like, if you're trying to push transparency, like, why would you remove it? And what are we going to do?
You're
Like,
getting away from transparency.
I think so.
100%.
Doesn't it sound like an ally?
Yeah.
So good luck trying to get a listing agent that's busy or lazy on the phone to ask them what you're paying, if you're paying.
Yeah. So, like, would you guys have any inclination of being like, hey, I'm just not going to, like, if you get burnt once on this, I don't want to tell buyers how they can burn people, but I've been thinking about it.
Give the strategies, Jade.
So listen, you could, like, I was actually talking to the head of legal at Berkshire, and we were talking. It's like, oh, but you have an agreement. I'm like, yeah. I said, but do you understand? At the agreement, someone could fire you.
Yeah. At any point. Just like listing.
At any point, someone could fire you.
Yeah.
So if they fire you, the exclusivity on that property is gone.
Unless you take a retainer fee or something, which I don't see a lot of people doing it. I don't know.
I could spend a month with somebody.
Yeah.
Yep.
They found their dream house. I went to 50 places. They find their dream house on Thursday. They fired me on Friday and put the offer in.
They hired me, and then
They would first go to the 77 group, and then, of course, like, I'm not giving.
you need to run the comps. You're on with the route.
Yeah, email us
This guy farts in his car when he's with me. I'm giving him money.
Jesus.
This guy eats while we're doing showings.
And everybody pink eye. We don't need
Yeah,
that.
I don't need that. But they can then just fire you and go.
Yes.
And even if you went 3 times, that same agent saw you 3 times, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
There's no procuring clause.
Yeah. It's so weird. That's so crazy if that would happen like that. Like, you spent a month and then.
I don't know if I would. I mean, I know you guys do that, and I'm really interested in these lead gen people, but I don't know if I would invest all that time on somebody that I don't know.
I will say this, Jason. I know Nick and I have kind of like talked about it. At least we are not in a position, and we're grateful and fortunate to be
To have
a stranglehold from Zillow.
Yeah.
Like, we own our own sites. We do our own SEO. Like, our leads aren't costing us more money because of this change. I think a lot of people, it may be, and probably will make buyer leads maybe cheaper. Obviously, seller leads are hard to get online, but anyone who's dependent on Zillow, because Zillow's the only player now. Like, I mean, Redfin loans, Homes.com is making
They did a big Super Bowl push.
Yes,
but
they're spending $1 billion on marketing.
dude, they sent everybody.
$1 billion.
Yeah.
$1 billion on marketing.
But what are they doing? They're trying to
Well, they're
give the listing agent, give them all the leads.
yes,
Yes.
It's all the listing agent. I mean, considering what's going on right now, it kind of is like, if you're gonna buy leads, I'd rather buy leads on stuff that I own.
Yeah, sure, for sure. Absolutely.
I actually think that the MLS we should not sell any of our homes to anybody. The fact that we pay to have our homes listed on Zillow. We pay that.
Yeah.
Zillow doesn't pay.
No.
We have the inventory.
Yep.
Right. It goes from the
And
MLS and it syndicates. Yeah.
We pay Zillow.
Yep.
And then Zillow takes our leads and gives them to someone else. And they're getting
That's
paid.
money. Yeah.
Correct.
What the fuck is with that?
Well, that's how the tech companies work, right? I've never been on Zillow. I don't know if you have, but it's people pay a lot, and I get it. I mean, it's a good return for some people, but That's what I would be worried about right now. Is like if I was dishing 5 to Zillow plus another 5 from a lender, you're at 10, and now those leads are going to be.
And you don't think there's going to be testers? I guarantee you,
for sure,
people are going to get Zillow calls, and you're going to test it. Like, I think if you pick up a lead, you better say the first thing, hey, listen, I'm the buyer's agent. You have to sign representation paperwork. I can't go out with you, this and this. And you know what's going to be? But people are like, no, I'm okay.
I wonder if there's going to
I'll just call direct. I'm okay.
I wonder if there's going to be like...
That's everybody's pitch. This is why we're in the problem. I had a title guy on like 3 weeks ago. And I said, the reason we're in this problem is because of Zillow leads.
Because I think they're calling the listing agent.
Yeah.
Nah, I get it. Yeah.
Zillow's abuse of that, because listen, when I did a lot of stuff with Zillow, you know, the first thing Zillow trains you to tell people, hey, don't worry, you're not paying for me. That was straight out of this. That's their pitch. That's their pitch. Now it changed because like 6 years ago, they're like, you can't say that anymore.
Yeah.
Because you are paying.
Yeah.
So you haven't been able to say that for a while. But when I started with Zillow, guys, I've been in here, like I was doing Zillow before all the guys who were spending.
Yeah.
And that was the pitch. And that's still, I don't care what anybody says, that's still coming out of people's mouths. It may not be in writing, but
my services are free.
Yes.
Like that quote unquote.
What you have not been able to say, but now it's like, if you say that, you're really going to be in trouble.
Oh, absolutely.
I believe that. Yeah.
I just think that person, that product, it's like trying to convert somebody that wants to use Redfin. That's, you know.
Well, that was my thing. Like, what's going to happen? What's going to happen with the Redfin, for example, right? This is one thing I hate about the website in general in Redfin is you go on there, your listing. It says, next available showing 6 o'clock. Is it available 6 o'clock? It's 24-hour notice. It's this. What's going to happen with that when the buyer clicks on the live tour? And then you're not available, right? Are they able to work with this agent? And how are they going to work stuff out to get us, like, basically they have to sign an agreement. My theory is, I'm thinking, maybe even for our site, I don't know if we can even incorporate this. I don't even know if NAR is going to allow this or Emmett or whoever.
It should be an online form.
Bingo, exactly. Sign. You register on my website, Bob Smith, here's my website, here's my phone number, email address, and then, cool, I consent to work with John for this one day or this one showing or whatever the case may be, or a longer term, whatever we can agree upon. I wonder if they're going to adopt something like that. I would assume they're going to have to. Something, because these online leads, that's the only way to get them to semi-commit.
I don't think online leads are
you going to go, can you even go on showings blindly? I mean, are people going to regulate
I don't know.
the documents? We don't know that.
I mean, like,
I'm very interested to see like people's volume to August.
Yeah.
And then volume from August to December.
it's over. I think
I want to see the applications to waiters and waitresses.
Really
I want to see
that.
because I expect a lot anyway after August this year, election year.
No, it's going to be a shit show.
If NAR wasn't around,
we'll know like by mid-year of next year, but I'm just wondering how people are going to broach that subject. Now, the good part about all this is we can talk about all the bad agents that are going to lose their job. And I don't want anyone to
you're so excited about it.
But I'm so frustrated about the lack of, they're all nice. Just the lack of education on the product is insane to me. Like, if someone came up to me and said, I want to be agent, what I need to do, I'd be like, you need to sit in construction sites. And you need to talk to everyone about what this is, 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 what this is. I mean, the amount of people that don't even understand anything is bananas to me.
Barrier to entry is very low.
Yeah.
That's part of it.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I don't think that's ever going to change, but I think this will help keep the more educated and the one that are dived into the industry more than the part-timers or the half in, half outers.
Yeah. I mean, you know, people will be like, oh, I'm just a buyer's agent because I have friends, okay, your friend's going to cut you a check for $25,000 when you literally don't know anything you're talking about. I can't believe how many people don't know that the A coil produces air conditioning in the furnace. And people think the condenser produces the air conditioning. John, don't look at me like that because I'm going to be upset if you...
He knows about the B coil, about the A coil.
I don't know the internal HVAC system.
We rely on inspectors.
Listen, you're more like, you know everything about like construction more than a lot of people. I don't think we're hired to be construction experts. I'm not hired to be a structural engineer. Not hired for any of that. But you got to have good resources and know at least something about construction.
But I'm telling you, this next iteration of our job, when people are paying you $20,000, you better know that stuff because that's what they're gonna call up their friends and say, oh, you're spending, because if not, I have a friend now. That's done with.
Yeah.
It's who who am I willing to pay?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is going to be. You're going to have to show your value. You're right.
Yeah.
I definitely going to have to do that. But like, there's people who walk in and they don't do nothing. I mean, how many times have you seen agents walk in and sure, the listing agent, their job's to really sell the property, talk about it. But like the buyer's asking all these questions and their agent's just standing behind them.
Yeah.
I'm like, why are you
texting? You beat me to a texting on their
Texting.
phone. On their phone.
Oh, you're like
They're looking at Haktui memes.
There's a way. Do it.
Let's do it. Come on, let's get one out of you.
Haktui.
Holy shit, that was Oh, that's funny.
I'm so sure.
That's what they're doing.
Yeah, they are doing that. They're watching that over and over and over.
Oh, goodness.
I mean, but there's agents that are, I think there's agents that are veterans. Like I know agents that I've known since the mid 2000s. When they walk into a place, they're just texting the whole time.
I mean, I get it. We're all guilty. I text too, but I'm being attentive. I ask questions, put my phone on the side.
Well, dude, I'll be upstairs in the bedrooms and this guy's on the couch texting people. And these are big agents.
Yeah, that isn't good. That's a point where I feel like you got to at least give your buyer
Something.
the time of day and spend some time with them. Show that you care.
Here's another question. What if, family members reach out to us? So what if the listing agent's not paying? You got to ask about a member, hey, give me 20 grand, 2 grand, 15 grand. How many times we try to cut a deal or do whatever and, kind of.
And listen, I would say 15% of my business is my inner circle.
Yeah, that's
50?
15 to 20% is my inner circle. Like where it's like I would do.
That's a hard ask. A cousin, a sister, a brother, whatever.
They just got married. They're having a kid.
Oh, by the way,
20 grand. I don't blame them.
Pay some of your envelope money.
I would be like, you saw the check I gave you for your wedding. You just need 10 more of those checks and you're fine.
The people that gave you your wedding.
Yeah.
Just give me the envelopes.
Just give me the bird cage.
That's great. And the money on the floor from the Greek dance.
Yeah, from the Greek dancer. There's enough dollars there.
Exactly.
That's a really good.
So that's the biggest thing for me. And I thought that's one of the things, not the biggest, but one of the things I thought of was like,
well, we're Greek too, so like,
you get a lot of reach out.
My current clients are family, and I thought about it. I'm like, thank God they're buying before this August thing, or one's buying like over $1 million, another one's a couple $100,000. But I can't imagine you're, asking them.
No, you're gonna have to say, hey, listen, these ones.
Even if I do 2 showings with them, they're like, you're gonna make $25,000. Like, it's hard to help people understand that, but sometimes you're out with people 6 months, a year, and
so when people say that you're making $25,000, do you ever sit down with them and tell them what you actually make?
Oh, after taxes, after expenses, no, of course.
It's general time.
Really?
Oh.
So some guy called me up.
But a lot of people who actually ask us that.
Yeah.
So some guy, they don't ask me that. What they say is, I had a guy, we had a listing on Winona, 5140 Winona, which is just went under contract with this person. Okay. He had a broker. I had no idea who this guy was. He calls me up and starts negotiating the commissions. He's like, well, I was doing these numbers and you're making 2.5% or 3%. It's this. I said, man, let me know where I can go and make 2.5% to 3% on my commissions. Literally. Yeah. I said, you live in America. He's like, yeah, this is guys having my age. I'm like, okay. I'm like, do you pay taxes? He's like, yeah, okay. So right off the bat, I'm giving 40% to Uncle Sam. Yeah. You know what the state tax is in Illinois? It's 4 to 5%. So right now I'm at 45%. Oh, guess what? I work for a company called Berkshire. They make money because they make money from me. So now I'm paying him. I said, and then I've got $2,000 in marketing costs. I go, so listen, the place is $850,000. Man, you want $7,000 or $6,000? That's what we're talking about. I said, and then, I always say, listen, get on the phone, get on your computer, hit Redfin, have Redfin take you to the spot, and you can deal with a kickback from that. I want nothing to do with it. Because that person is going to be a pain in the ass.
Oh, for sure.
The whole time.
For sure.
I tell people to go to Redfin. When anyone says to me, I want cash back, I go to Redfin. First, I can't do it.
Yeah.
Go to Redfin.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you're gonna get what you get from a company like Redfin, and it's gonna cost them more. That little kickback, cashback. I don't even know what Redfin offers. It's like, fine, you're gonna get a Redfin quality agent. And
well, I'll tell you what. If I'm representing the seller and I have a non-agreement, I have a non-agency agreement with the buyer, he's gonna get more from Redfin than he's gonna get from me because I'm gonna take that kid to the cleaners.
Yeah.
And that's what's gonna happen to all these people that I'm gonna represent because my job is for the seller.
Exactly. For sure.
And when you're coming by yourself and you think you're that slick,
They think they're just so smart. Like anybody could just be a realtor. I can get my own contract. I can write it until they don't know what to do. And like you said, you're going to take them to the cleaners.
Yeah.
They're going to pay significantly more on the purchase price. They're not going to get the best terms. And guess who ends up losing? They do.
They do. Yeah.
Which is sad, but that's their choice.
I think this whole NAR thing anyways in general, I think the buyer's losing in general, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, it didn't start out this way. They put buyer's agents because buyers were getting screwed.
Correct.
So it just makes no sense to
Think about it. We got deals right now falling apart with the representation. Not the greatest.
Well, they're not rep, yeah.
Yeah, that's the greatest. But like, what about this quote unquote savvy buyer that wants to go in by themselves? Good luck. We've
They
seen
don't
other
know
podcasts and
anymore.
other people saying, other brokers saying 70% of his deals that are unrepresented go south. Like that's going to be happening a lot until the buyer, I think, realizes it. And then who they calling at 10 o'clock at night asking about A coils and who the hell?
Yeah, 8 coils in
Not John.
And I'm like, call
Not
John.
calling me. Definitely not that. If your heat's broke, call Jason. Or your AC.
Call John. He's probably up.
He didn't know what the 8 foot Bitcoin was going to do. So don't put me under
No.
None of us know. I don't even think you got air working in here. Do you know where your B coil is?
Yeah, it's B. It's A.
I don't care.
Because it's framed like an A.
That why?
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. We learned something.
When the air conditioner breaks, you know why it breaks normally?
Why does it break?
Okay.
Different
People don't clean the filter.
Okay.
So when you don't clean the filter, the air coil over freezes. And then what happens is it shuts down, it gets wet, it freezes, and it turns into an ice block. And then it cracks, and the air coil cracks, and then you're kaputty. And the problem with that happening now is that you can't get Freon anymore.
All right.
So when your A coil cracks, and it's a Freon A coil, you're screwed.
Yeah, you're screwed.
Now you have to do everything. Changing the filter is literally the most important thing to do.
Yeah, yeah.
And no one does it.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, oh, I had a client that lived there. I had a client that lived there.
So cheap.
What's the blue?
The green one.
What's the blue building on right off LaSalle? That's like
Blue glass.
the blue glass.
110 West 50.
Yeah,
110. Yeah.
They have air handlers in there. They have a different type of cooling system. It's extremely expensive. She lived there 6 years, never cleaned her filters. Both the ACs broke, and they pulled it out. The filter was like a wall, and they broke because you never changed the
In
filter.
6 years, come on. Like,
6 years.
That's crazy.
There were
Once every couple
20
months.
grand a pop, just two of them.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Good luck. That's bad.
So let's talk about social media and you guys. When are we going to start seeing you?
Oh, I suck at it. John at least posted his just listed, just closed a couple dog photos.
talk about like your.
No, I'm horrible at it. I post Pearl Jam stuff and maybe a couple of gyro sandwiches.
But it's just about it's like having a conversation like this. You can have a conversation.
Totally.
Like this.
I'm just bad at it. I never really find the time to do it. Not that I don't have the time. You know how many videos I have of like places I've been to and showings and stuff, and randomly when I'm like sitting on the couch, I'm like, oh yeah, let's post this. I was there 2 weeks ago, and then I just do it randomly. I get a lot of activity, a lot of comments, a lot of DMs and stuff like that about it. And I was telling my wife the other day, like I should probably start doing this more often. And then you do a lot of FaceTime stuff. I don't You're like
You got that personality.
Someone's looking at my
like-
face.
But you guys have the same personality. I thought about it last time. When we're at a bar and we're having a drink, we're all laughing, we're all saying the same shit. There's no reason that you shouldn't be able to turn around and do it. And you're single. You should be able to spit game like this.
Listen, going online.
That's probably can't spit the game.
Going online and I'm drunk usually when I'm doing that, but like going
Get
online,
drunk into it.
you don't always feel like people want to just see you. Like I get annoyed seeing the same shit over and over on social media.
Yeah.
I get it from realtors. It's not the podcast. It's just everybody's like, oh, look at me, I'm showing a property. It's such a nice $2 million place. Like it just becomes so redundant. And you keep seeing just like the hot TUI. We keep seeing it in our thing.
But I keep watching it.
So do I. I can't
So
help it.
come on, that's a bad example.
I know you
I can watch Huck Tui all day.
We're our own biggest critics when we're like on video and on watching ourselves on social media. I don't know. He doesn't do it a lot. I don't do it a lot. I just kind of like say, hey, here's a picture of my dog. He's cute. Leave me alone, and go on to the next property. And
Do we think the dog photos?
I told him his dog's.
I think the dog-
That's great.
Jaywalking with Jay. That's what he should have done. The dog's name is Jay.
Yeah.
Jaywalking with John. Sorry, jaywalking with John.
Keith, will you have him on as a guest?
No, because the
He matches your wall here.
the two of you when you're together starts scaring me.
Oh, relax. What scares me, what's on your nose right now? He may bite you.
Yeah. So I'm going through midlife crisis and puberty at the same time. I have a zit. My wife pointed out to me, and I was like, no, she wakes up, she goes, what's on your nose? And I'm like, I feel it. She said that to me, do you want me to mix up on it? I'm like, no, just let it be. It's because listen, this testosterone in me, bro.
I got it, natural.
There's a
Testosterone.
There's an Instagram filter to fix that up.
Yeah. 50 with acne means that I'm doing something right.
Doing something right. I don't know what it is.
So tell me, guys, like a recent story that of a buyer or seller that really made you laugh. Yeah, Nick, something that happened to you over the last 2 months that was like, oh my Lord. Like, I think all of us think that we see everything, and then we see something else that you're like, Jesus, now I've seen everything. And then it's like, oh my God, now I've seen everything. I'm trying to think. Or heard, or this or that. You know, those good stories. You're in real estate. It's all about
I got a seller from last year.
I don't know about the buyer that won't sign the contract, and it's.
Oh,
I mean, I don't know if you're laughing about it. It's a no.
No. I have a buyer doesn't speak much English.
Greek?
No, Asian.
Oh, can you get an interpreter or something?
She didn't want one. She says, "I'm good with you."
Okay.
And we walk and talk, and it's like, yeah, and back and forth. Showed her a bunch of places. Budget like $3 million. She has proof of funds. Showed it to us. Whatever. Made an offer on a place. Missed out on one because she took too long. That's the biggest problem. Is like we just text so she can communicate easier with text.
Oh, probably converts it.
Google Translate.
Yeah, for sure.
That's
and
smart.
So we're in person. We kind of talk, but when we're on outside, obviously just texting. It takes forever to sign. Like she signed the offer. Like there's a place with an offer on for the last like 3 months, and we're just basically finally agreed on price. Yeah, okay, we'll take it. Send her the contract with the updated terms. Easily sign the contract to make the offer. Now it's time to put pen to paper to make it official. And it's like, oh, my English is bad. I don't know if I can sign it. Okay, I'm gonna send it to my attorney. I said, okay, great. You can take a look at it. Your attorney can take a look at it. Your attorney review.
Do you have the attorney's email?
No, she won't give it to me. You're correct, exactly. So I'm trying. Yeah, something's up. And literally yesterday, I'm like, hey, I'm literally sitting on the couch. I'm like, you want to like sign it or not, or just keep looking at other places? She goes, I will sign it. And this has been I will sign it for. I can show you the text message for the last month. At least.
So these are like,
and I feel bad for the listing agent because he has high hopes. He's like, thank you. He's like so appreciative every time I give him some sort of answer, but it's never happening because it's a $3.5 million place. Been on the market for a while. It's in the it's in the Gold Coast, whatever. And he's just like hoping for this deal to happen. And I feel bad. And I
tell him like, hey,
I was literally told we even saw the place 3 times. It's not like we only saw it once and made an offer and whatever. We saw it multiple times during the negotiation process too. And I mean, there was one that we made an offer on. She missed out on. We agreed terms. Holidays happened. She just got quiet. January 8th, she texted me, hey, I still want to see so-and-so. Great. I still want so-and-so. Great. I emailed her. Broker's like, sorry, we got an offer. Then all of a sudden, magically, her offer took her a month to respond to make a counter offer. It went up $200,000-300,000 within seconds. Still, we're too late. But I don't even know if she would have signed it in time. So like, granted, that's 3.
So you got to kind of like.
Yeah, but like, I'm not running around. I'm just texting at this point. So it's not like it's a waste of my time running around. I'm like literally sitting on the toilet, sitting on my couch. I'm like texting her.
That's a buyer agreement type lead you'd want. Like, sign this or we're not going to ever work together because you're wasting the listing agent's time, the seller's time, Nick's time, everybody involved. And I think to go back to the NAR thing, I think there is some good in it. It's not just the transparency. It's hey, you're actually going to agree to work with me. And you're not going to cheat and go click on Redfin one day and the next day show it with Jason or me or Nick. And I think we do need that. But like just like Nick said, I think it's going to be hard to navigate. Like when those leads are inbound, how are we going to get them to sign? Is it online? But I know Nick tells me about this every day, and I'm like, did she sign? He's like,
what scam?
Oh, you ready for
no?
Yeah, this is a good one. Kenilworth. This guy's showed a house. Kenilworth. It was another $3 million. Guy shows up. And like a little red dot.
You're the buyer.
I'm your buy
side.
This guy
not met this guy.
No, I was helping somebody out, but then she was pregnant, so I just kind of took it from start to finish. Basically,
cool.
Horror stories of online leads.
Yeah. But this one's crazy. So 2.9 mil. He goes in there. He shows up in like a little rusted out Dodge Neon red. Okay, comes out during COVID. He's wearing a mask. We go in there, shows it, sees. He's like, I used to be in this house. My friend so-and-so back in so-and-so years used to live here. Oh yeah, this is the family that owned it before. No problem. Calls me back. Hey, let's make an offer. I was like, great. It's like, I'll do cash.
Was it verified that was a family? That it was?
Yeah, the listing agent was there. She was telling us, oh yeah, that's so.
I mean, there's a little.
So that was like, that was okay.
I'm okay with the neon.
keep in mind, this guy's like 50. I can show you the picture. Never mind. I guess that guy's like 55 some years old, and he's walking through it cool. He's like, I think I'm gonna make an offer. I said, okay, great. He's like, I'm gonna do it cash, no problem. He gives us a Harris bank statement with like $8 million in it. Great. Submit the offer. Boom. $3 million or whatever it was that we agreed upon. Done. Do we do the inspection? He didn't want to come. He's like, I'm busy. Great. $5,000 inspection for the inspector. It's a huge house, super scopes, the whole deal.
What was the price? 2.9?
2.931 or something like that. Doesn't pay the inspector any money. Okay? That's one start. The scam starts there. Now we're due for earnest money. Oh yeah, I sent it. Broker's like, no, I don't have it. And I'm like, he's like, oh, I'll give you the confirmation number. Never give the confirmation. I'm like, hey, what the hell was his name?
Michael or Steven or?
No. Anyway.
Scammerson.
Yeah, Scammerson. I'm like, hey, Joe.
So right off the bat,
yeah, Joe.
I got problems.
Yeah. So I said, hey, let me meet you to get a check for the thing. No problem. No, first he says he's gonna go drop it off at the Winnetka or North Shore at Properties office. Says he drops it off after hours. They go back the next day, check's not in there. I'm like, I'll meet you. He's like, oh, meet me in my Prospect. So I meet him at Prospect. He's sitting in his car. I walk up to the window. He's like, hey, I'm like, did you jump
in the neon?
Yeah, he's in the neon. He's like,
he's riding
with $8 million.
He's riding or dying.
I had my phone. I had this jacket with a pocket here. I had my phone sticking out. And he goes, hey, I don't like talking around cell phones. I said, all right, fine. I put it in my back pocket. So I don't like when I see cell phones. No problem. I go, he's like, I'm like, did you drop off the check? He's like, yeah, I dropped it up. Maybe it slipped through the back or something like that. I said, well, that's fine. I go, I'll tell him to cancel. There's a checkbook sitting on your passenger window. He's like, and he gives me this piece of paper, goes, here's this piece of paper. I still have it. I should frame it actually. Open it up. It's literally a piece of paper that says, paid to the order of at Properties, 120 grand, Joe, 123 Main Street. And on the back, I had it signed, like he literally drew a check.
His signed Hawk Tui?
No, that was before this time. So he literally drew a check. I said, why don't you just write me a real one? I'm like, this is not going to be good. Like, it's not like an IOU.
Oh my God.
So why don't you just write me a check?
Dumb and Dumber?
Yeah. Why don't you just write me a check from that checkbook right there? He's like, how do I do it? I go, same thing you wrote on this piece of paper. So he wrote it on there, gives me the check. I give it to the broker.
That's probably like a basketball.
Now, keep in mind, I'm supposed to meet him at Harris Bank downtown. Because he says, I go to the 5th floor and that's where I have my bank card, all this kind of stuff. I go up I'm waiting for him. I get there early because I know now we're getting scammy. Just to beat him up to go up this escalator to go to the elevator. Never shows up. He says, I was there. I'm like, I don't know, fine. So I don't know if he's going to come to closing or not. But at this point, that check is not bounced or cleared yet because the closing's happening like
no yet has been tendered at all.
No, your seller still has high.
Well, it's 10 days.
Yeah.
Oh, it's been that long, yeah.
It's 10 days for that check.
Yeah.
7 to 10 days.
So, no joke, that morning, check comes back bounced.
Yeah.
Morning of closing. So I go there for the quote unquote final walkthrough. The seller's there. It's like, listen, I'm not giving this guy shit until something goes down. I'm like, listen, I'm going to go to closing. I haven't talked to him in 2 days. He's not responding. I don't know if he's going to show up. I pull up and park behind these bushes like I'm an investigator. Freaking Dodge Neon shows up to closing. So I pull in like I'm coming in. I'm like, hey, Joe, how's it going? He's like, yeah. He's like, man, my dad's going to kill me. He's like, he doesn't know I'm buying this house. He's like, I'm just going to tell him the house sitting for like 30 days and whatever. I'm like, this is a 50-some-year-old man that is talking about buying this house for $3 million.
Did you tell him his check bounced?
Yeah. He's like, oh, that's weird. Here's the confirmation number. I'm like, well, whatever. I'll go. He said he wired the total amount to the title company at this point after the check bounced in the morning.
Okay.
He's like, I wired the 2 whatever to the title company. Go to title company, sign all documents, everything. Title company's like, okay, well, the money's not here. Here's the wire here. Here's confirmation number. He's like, well, it's at the Harris Bank. I look at the Harris Bank nearby. It's only 3 minutes away. Oh, come in. So I take him to the Harris Bank. We sit down. The banker knew who he was. So I'm like, okay, cool. He's like, hey, I want the money out of this account. He's like, Joe, this account's been closed for like 8 years. Yeah. He's like, oh,
so he's insane.
Crazy.
But didn't you hope fear for your life? Like, why would you still communicate with this guy? Because
the seller listing agent was like kind of, they're again having high hopes, and they thought this guy was going to be legit, and he showed up to closing. You don't go through the process, sign document.
The 1% chance that he closes, it sounds like the seller.
The seller wanted me to do it, like someone was there. So I'm like, all right, fine. So
I think you have a 1% of closing and a 20% of being chopped up, thrown into Lake Michigan.
Yeah. So then he sends me this thing. He's like, then he's like, can I still close? I go, no, there's no money. You can't close. You can't get the keys. It's like, oh, let me go maybe I'll get it from another account. I go, whatever, you figure out, you call him. He sends me a screenshot from a different bank. I have a friend that works at that bank, and he looked it up. He's like, no, it's like the closed account from when we bought out a previous bank that Huntington Bank bought out or whatever.
But what was his game?
I don't know. I think he had some sort of emotional attachment to the house. I mean, I don't know if I should say this or not, but I had like a cop friend look him up to see. He had a lot of like witness protection type stuff, and like his I should look it up earlier is basically what I said, but I should have done it. But his identity was kind of like disappear. So I don't know if it was
when anyone's like cash or
whatever,
$2 or $2.5 million. I'm straight to LinkedIn, and I'm straight. I'm straight to like the internet. And if you have no like, there's no history of you anywhere. Like, there's no internet history of you. You're not.
Something's up. Yeah. So
no one has $3 million in petty cash and is not
for sure. Yeah.
But his grandfather and his dad have all the same names. So I think he was using an account that he had previously from that. It was just weird. He had some weird attachment to it. He knew everything. He was like, oh yeah, this used to be here and this used to, because it was completely regut. Jason Hero actually was renting the place at the time. So the Cubs player. So like, I don't know. He had this weird attachment about the previous family and this and that. So I don't know what.
The guy was probably.
But he disappeared. Then he shows up back on somebody else's website. Oh yeah, I know your story. You're gonna tell somebody else's website.
I'm not talking about that guy. That guy's
What?
annoying.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'll talk about.
Yeah, I don't think he showed up on somebody else's website wanting to buy a River North condo. Same guy that bailed on the Kenilworth place. So I'm like, don't even talk to that guy. He's a fraud. So anyway, that's my long story to shorten because this is
What's your story?
John's got something.
Oh no, my guy didn't waste as much time as like Nick's did. This guy, I was like, this is too good to be true. Show one property up in Evanston, off the lake, and he's a cash buyer. He brings his money guy with him. He's got a matte black like G-Wagon, the younger girlfriend, the typical thing. I'm like, okay, whatever. Go in, see it. This is great. I was like, oh, what's your reason for buying out here? We just want to be by the water. We own XYZ company that does something related with boats. So I was like, okay, that makes sense. You want to be by the water.
Boats and hoes.
Yes. We did the earnest money. You know, they got the first installment. Fine. He had a legit attorney. Apparently what I didn't know, somebody that Nick knows who also has like a website, she had written up 14 deals for this guy and none of them went through. This is the first one that I was on, and essentially he was just making odd requests. He was a really good talker, always had excuses, and I ended up fighting some stuff about him.
Give me an odd request.
Odd request.
Do you want to have dinner with me and your dog?
No, he was more like,
I had the seller cover it. The dinner.
Like, I don't want no credits as is, but
remove the mirrors.
I don't like all the mirrors in this place. They freak me out. Tell them to take all the mirrors out. I go, no, it's a $3 million place. We're not going to remove the mirrors because you don't like them, and you're going to gut the place anyway. So they were like, what? So they started getting a little suspicious, and then they
this is when I stopped doing online leads.
Yeah,
from this stuff.
Well, listen, good and bad comes from online.
Yeah.
I'll say this was like a bad one.
Well,
like,
keep going. I want to.
No, basically they said no.
Yeah.
And the seller looked him up and then found some shady stuff in another state about a house.
There was like an eyewitness news, like iWatch or whatever. Like he was the head topic of that guy in like a different.
Yeah. So what did he do in that different state? What are like? I'm always curious.
He owned one of the biggest mansions in, I believe it was North or South Carolina.
But he had to buy it.
But it was just I don't know. This guy legitimately had money. He had legitimately money, but I don't know what his game was. Screwing this other agent, having to write offers on 14 places and buying none of them.
Oh, she was like, I bet his wife and all his girlfriends.
So I don't know. I don't know like what the end game with that was, but he had some money and I guess he wasn't paying vendors out there and this and that. So, but like they're not all bad. Like I'd run into I had an online lead who's Spanish speaking only.
Oh, this is
Nick
great.
Would laugh. I'd hear me speaking Spanish.
You can speak Spanish?
I could speak decent Spanish, and
so Spanish, Greek.
In English, obviously.
Yeah, that's impressive.
But I worked in
that.
Yeah,
English is my second language.
So I helped them buy a place, and then I had a good Spanish lender, and also I found an attorney that's Spanish speaking only. I found an inspector that's Spanish speaking only, and we did a great deal. Helped them out, and they do like daycares. So they do home daycares. So a lot of the homes we were looking at were up like north, like Portage Park kind of areas.
Okay.
So they've referred me like 3-4 other people, and I'm like, okay, this is great. And the next person comes in and they think I'm like fluent in Spanish and they're just throwing stuff at me. So sometimes I would get Nick on the phone, and then he just hears me babbling something.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. I've heard a lot of that.
If you open the opportunity to say, hey, I speak some Spanish, but I don't know escrow or oferta is offer. Like you start learning and you start picking up things. Like I knew restaurant Spanish.
Yeah, like really, like
Greek. Throw the fucking
when Greeks are speaking like from their village dialect, and they say these like my wife is fluent in Greek.
I've talked in Greek,
but my mother is too. And when my mother was talking to my father-in-law, she just looked at him and she goes half these words, and she was born in Greek. She's like, see, a lot of this is like village Greek. Otherwise, it's like like slang
dialects.
Yeah, like
the Hispanic people I worked with in restaurants spoke Greek, and the Greeks spoke Spanish.
Yes,
and my dad doesn't have an education, and he spoke pretty good Spanish.
Yeah,
like better than his English. Better than his English at the time.
Well, he probably was speaking more Spanish than English. When he's at home, he's speaking Greek, right?
Right.
Yeah. When he's at the restaurant, he's speaking pretty much Spanish.
Like he's on the line, and you'll have someone up front who can do that. Yeah. So, like, there is some good stuff like that, like online leads. You see somebody who, like, they don't speak a ton of English or almost no English, and they're running a really successful daycare business, and you met them online, and you get a bunch of referrals. So, online leads are not all.
They're hit or miss. We've had more good stories than bad on online leads.
They were, like, I don't know what it is now, but back in the day, man, they were, like, no.
They were more qualified.
They were great.
It was a new thing. But
there wasn't scams. There wasn't this. Like they were like, like I remember one time, like I have clients that I've known now for 15 years that I met off Zillow. With thousands that are fantastic, and they're like, well, we were just having dinner and we're at Southport Quarter, and we thought like, hey, let's take a look at what's around here. You like this area, and then click it. It came to me. I answer it. Blah blah blah. Then I ended up servicing like 4 of her, the mom, the dad. I found them in town, and all the kids.
But doesn't it blow your mind that some of the nicest people, like whether they're buying a $400,000 home or like a $2 million home, and you end up closing them, and you're like, how do these people in their circle don't have a realtor
or have somebody online refer them to? You know what I mean? A friend or whatever. They have these their sphere, right? You don't have anybody. They don't have anybody they can refer them to, and they just come to us online. Like we're grateful and we're thankful for it. But it's like crazy to think that.
I'm shocked.
I think it happens a lot.
Like, do they like have a realtor? They didn't think about it, or I mean, I get it if you're buying a second home in another city, but like.
I think we take it for granted because we're surrounded by realtors, but like I think that we always take everything. I think we take our knowledge for granted in terms like we think that other people should know what we know.
Yeah.
And that is like one of the biggest things where you're like, when I make a mistake or something like that, my mistakes are usually like I like assumed like that person would have known what an A coil was.
Yeah. Still with the A coil.
I'm never gonna hear the end of this. No, but you're right.
Like my dad used to say, assume is you make an ass out of you and me. That's spelled.
Yeah. Like physicians. I mean, how many doctors don't know about? I know you can talk about that, but they're smarter than a lot of people, but they've never bought a house, so they don't know.
They don't even know that you go to a locksmith for keys. Yeah. I mean, it's a fucking next level, bro. Yeah. It is next level.
No, you're right. You're right. No, but there's a lot of them that are smart.
But they're in school.
Yeah.
You go to school when you're 18. You're not out of school till you're 35. And you're focused. You're not really.
Dude, they're busy and
they're not in the real world.
No.
You're not getting locked out of a house. You're in a campus. You're this. You're sleeping at the hospital, or then you go into round this and this.
Stop.
But they like whenever someone tells me they're a doctor, I'm always like, all right, don't assume anything.
Yeah, because of that.
And it's not. It's just because they're so hyper focused for the last 10 years on, fixing someone's hip or.
I remember when I first started, we were doing online leads, and we were getting these. So my website started cranking a little bit more. We started getting these higher price point budget leads that people were looking at, and all of a sudden you see this $1 million buyer, and you're like, oh crap, I gotta wear a suit and I gotta do all this stuff. And they show up in like beat up shorts and and they have millions and millions of dollars in their accounts, and they're just like the most down to earth people. And here I am, Mr. Stuck Up in a suit. Like it was a refreshing thing to see, basically, because you just have this perception of like must look like this and that.
There's like if you had like a
you would have shown like the way you're dressed right now.
Yeah. If you had like some sort of like I don't even know what to say, like I
think it's like an A for you to the A frame.
Yeah, I mean, like if you were like taking how people dress and the money they make, it's kind of inverted.
For sure.
As the money gets more, the dress gets worse.
Totally.
Until you're talking to people that have like $500 million in the bank, and they're in Birkenstocks and like whatever they woke up in.
Well, it's like the fuck you money. You're like, I had a shorts t-shirt. You're not going to let me into underground, or like someone like that thrives to say, but you know who I am. You know how much.
Yeah.
I don't know that, but
My old boss, when I was a trader, who had silly money, said, I don't dress up to let people know how important I am.
Yeah.
He goes, because I'm not going to dress up like everyone else. But if I can walk into underground or walk into this place in shorts and everyone else is in suits, like
that stands out.
Everyone's looking at me and being like, how is this guy at a table? The best table.
Yeah, shorts and a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Like,
and I'm like all jazzed up.
Yeah.
Well, you told me some stories when you guys.
Yeah, but like he would always, like he made a point to dress no matter like when dating myself, like back in the day, when Dragon Room, Circus, and when anything was like the spot, he would be like, I'm going to go there as tattered as possible.
Dude, I remember when I worked at Yoke, the breakfast place, and Groupon's headquarters was nearby north. The one owner would come in and have meetings, or partner owner, whatever the guy's name was, Andrew something, I don't remember what his name was, but he would be in shorts and like a goofy t-shirt, and everybody else was suits.
Yeah.
Like,
and then you're like, that's the guy that's important.
I was like, who's that?
COVID's changed the dress code in the real estate industry big time. I think people, I'm not saying don't wear a suit or don't look nice, but some people just got like lazy. Like I just woke up out of bed wearing Crocs and like my toes sticking out with a hole in a sock. It's like, it's not.
Where are you? These people.
Or like you tell people to take their shoes off and people look at you and they're like, oh, I didn't wear socks today. And I'm like, well, bro, you're going, and it's usually a girl or a woman. You're going to like 10 homes. You're going to take your shoes off. I'm going to tell you.
Yeah, it's like, so that's kind of like, I'm not saying wear a suit and be whatever, look like a banker or whatever, but like just be dressed up and just look clean. Some people just literally come in jogging pants and just out the door. Like it's not, I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah.
Whatever. Like you're fine. Like this is what people wear. Like you're fine. We're fine.
Just want to make people feel comfortable. You're not like, sometimes like you wear a suit and you're making somebody else look so dressed down unless it's less important. But it's like, hey, you got to just make them feel comfortable. It doesn't matter if it's $300,000 or $2 million. Except most of these $2 million, $3 million buyers, they're not
one is one a suit ever.
They're not coming from the law office and wearing their suit and tie. Like,
no, I agree with you. What do you guys have? We'll end on this. What do you guys have for predictions for the tail? I mean, I know it's election year. It's slowed up. I mean, it's interesting that Chicago now goes from full faucet to like drip.
Yeah.
I only think, and you're Mr. Interest Rates, that. You're
athletic rates.
Yeah.
I thought only if the rates go down as we get closer to the election, that may really like impact some people to just start buying again, like during a slower fall season.
Yeah.
They can't.
If they're not cutting them.
Can't.
So I think it's going to be slow. My prediction is it'll be slow. I just think that's it.
There's going to be some people trickling because of drip, but it's not going to be like super busy. I don't know about the suburbs. Suburbs still kind of crazy, but I don't know. We'll see. I think it's going to be slow. And sure, we watch you on Instagram. We don't watch us.
I'm like, like I could be busy one day and not busy the next day, and that day I think the world's stopping.
Yeah, right.
But like, I think it's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be, they're not going to, I know this sounds nuts, but I think them not changing rates is what's kept it somewhat busy. But hear me out.
I see where you're going with it.
Hear me out.
Yeah.
When rates drop, people wait to buy because they think it's going to further drop.
Sure.
Like I have clients who are always like, well, we're going to go further down. I think when people are like, hey, listen, this is it. Like we're not changing. Rates are not going to change. It was really interesting. I did like a 2-second thing. We could end on this. And I said, everyone always says to me, or like, we're talking, what about rates? And I'm like, hey, we're at 7 right now.
Yep.
And this is good. I think you could use this, tell your buyers this. And I think it will really put them in a different area. If we're at 7 and we're at 6.75 and rates are not going to get lower than 5.5, they're just not. Okay. I think rates are going to be right around 5.75 to 6.25, depending on what the Fed says that month. And you're like, well, I'm stuck in a 3. I had this conversation, then I put it on a story. Mm-hmm. And my guy has a 3.5. And he's like, oh, it's so hard to move because I have a 3.5. And I said, okay, that's great. I said, but you're never going to be at 3.5. That's the past. You can't look at it. I said, let's look at it this way. We're at 6.75. We may get a low of 5.5 to 6. I said, is the discomfort of the house you're living in right now and what doesn't work for you, is it worth paying 6.75 to 6 or 5.75? What's the spread on that? You can't do the spread from 3.5 on a condo to $1.5 million house now.
Yeah.
The spread has to be $1.5 million right now versus $1.5 million next year when rates are only 0.5 point lower. What's that monetary money?
Yeah.
Because that's your real money. The 3.5 is
Old news.
it's done. It's old news. It's never going to happen. So you can't look at it. You can't look at an unrealistic expectation and then try to make an educated decision on that expectation. It's unrealistic. The realistic expectation is 5.5 to 6.5. Is that enough of a change to halt you from buying and living in the house that you really need moving forward? And I think people look at it a little differently. My client was like, I see what you're saying. I'm like, yeah, man, like you can't go, I can't say, hey man, I'm not going to buy eggs next week because fucking eggs were $1.50 10 years ago. That's nothing to do with it. I'm going to buy eggs this week because the eggs are going to be the same fucking price next week.
Yeah.
That's how you have to look at it. I mean, I love the old price of eggs. I love the old price of gas. It's not there. So we have to live in the here and now and not in the past.
What about like,
and that has helped
1.5 now is
that's good.
I like 1.5 next year.
Well, I said that to him too.
That's the other
I said
like gap. That's missing,
I said,
right?
and then when you go from I said that when you go from 6.75 to 5.5, that $1.5 million house is now $1.7 million.
Easily.
One now run the spread
Totally.
That.
That's a bigger. That's the
spread on
that's the realization. There's a lot of people. I think we have a lot of people that are just either looking around or sitting behind the sidelines waiting for the drop. But the drop is going to cause the uptick in pricing, which is already.
But the drop is not going to be.
It's not going to be significant. It's just more of a mental thing. If they see a 6 in front of the thing, it's an optical illusion for the buyer, in my opinion.
I think that's the only way to really get these people to understand monetarily that you have to make the life decision.
Yeah.
You can't sit in a place that doesn't work for you anymore because you're paying X amount of dollars.
I mean, how many people we've all had this. I'm waiting for the market to crash. I'm waiting for the market to crash.
Oh.
It just got way more expensive.
I had people at 3% telling 2.5%, 3% telling me wait for the market to crash for prices to drop. Well, 4 years later, prices have gone up and market hasn't crashed.
We're short 4.5 million.
Yeah.
Homes. A lot. Crazy. So there's 1.8 million new families every year. And the most homes we've built in the last 4 years is 1.2 million.
Oh, sorry.
And I don't want to get into the politics, but we just let 9 million people into fucking America this year. So like, where are they going to live? I'm just saying, like, that's how short we're short $4.5 million homes.
Yeah.
And we don't make enough. We don't make, and then on top of it, all the regulations. I just read yesterday, it takes the time that it takes to get a permit in the city of Chicago is 4.5 times longer than it was 4 years ago.
4.5 times
Longer.
Why? What's the holdup? Not enough people working, signing off on this stuff. Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Everybody's right.
Everything's a video call.
Yeah.
Or this or this or this.
Slows down the whole.
It slows down the process. And they attach, I have nothing wrong with affordable housing, but when you attach affordable housing to zoning changes, a developer can't build those homes because the minute you go affordable housing, the development is upside down.
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense.
Let people upzone, let people build smaller places, and you will get affordable housing and you'll get more housing. So no one's built, like my developers would love to build because it diversifies the risk. I would love to buy a double lot on Greenview and build 21 bedrooms or 10 2-bedrooms, a couple 1-bedrooms. I'd love to do that. Unfortunately, we're going to build $1.5 million condos because that's all zoning will allow. And the neighbors who all love everybody won't allow the alderman to upzone because they say, if you upzone, we're not going to have you come back. We're not going to vote for you.
Yeah.
So everybody wants, it's all NIMBYs, right?
Yeah.
Everybody wants stuff, but no one wants it in their backyard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we've seen that.
And that's why pricing.
Political side of things too.
And that's why pricing's not going to fall. People waiting for pricing to fall.
No.
Go to Econ 101. It's supply and demand.
It's not, not happening.
I don't know. We could go on a rant about that too and the politics. But all right, cool. Any parting words? Give us your socials, even though you guys don't post on them.
Socials.
Maybe people want to reach out to you. Know how you keep your guys' hair so nice. They're so jealous. Look at this hair.
Shut up. Yeah, but you got a nice shine coming off the light. It's nice.
Oh, actually,
It's too late.
When you did actually have hair.
Yeah. Dude, I have hair like my sister.
You had like a hairline.
They called me. Hold up, they called me two head
Shut up.
because I didn't have a forehead.
Oh,
I had a two.
God.
My hairline was down to here.
No shit.
Dude, I had the best hair.
It's good.
I grew.
Go to Turkey, get a transplant.
Oh.
I'm going to Turkey. I see it all over the internet.
Oh, dude, something will happen to me. Like my foot will fall off. I'll be getting a 10. Something will go on. So I bet that's gonna happen. That boat, that boat's left the building.
Yeah, that's okay.
All right, so give us your information.
For Instagram, I'm Yanni_drama.
Yanni with a Y.
What a Y.
Okay.
Not Giannis, like the Greek freak.
Yeah.
NX Nostos for me for Instagram.
77 group. And in terms of your guys' website,
ChicagosPropertyShop.com and CChicagoRealEstate.com are the two websites we have.
oh, those are good. Those are good URLs.
And we got LiveElmhurst.com too. I just bought that one.
I wonder what someone would pay you for that URL.
Which one?
The Chicago property or the Chicago other one.
No one's ever...
Really? No one's ever come up to you?
No, not yet at least. Maybe. That better.
I always wish, I always
Spider gave me thing.
I always found it when the internet exploded. Like one day, I was just like sitting at home and just getting wasted, and then just bought like
There's stuff.
cars.com, Ford.com.
Yeah, I mean,
somebody bought all those,
for sure.
Yeah, that's just like really forward thinking, right? Just start.
or you're just messed up. Like you're having
bought a bunch of sites, didn't you?
URLs and stuff.
Yeah, URLs.
Yeah, but they were like not the like. There was a couple people that would reach out to me. They would email me and say, "Hey, do you want Chicago apartments or something.com for $25,000? You could buy this." I'm like, I don't need it.
I bought like 25 URLs when I was probably 15 years ago. Like every oldtown.com, Old Town Agent, Lincoln Park Agent. I own Lincoln Park Agent, Lincoln Park Condo Agent, but I don't use it.
Yeah, you don't use it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times you buy
As good as what you do it.
You buy it and you forward them to like the main.
Yeah.
That's really, you don't like to build a whole new site. And that's
Someone to buy me out for a couple of million. My website's good.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah, and retire and not have to listen to people.
We could go chasing fake leads with no money.
Money.
I mean, he's got the bank account, $8 million in there apparently from 9 years ago. Anyway,
All right, well, that's it for us. Please follow Spotify. You've got to thank John and Nick for their time.
yeah, thanks for having me.
And you can, we didn't get into John's dating, which I wanted to,
That's
but
a whole other podcast.
But that's 2 years ago. We talked about John's dating.
And you're always trying to.
should we start auctioning them off like the website? It's like,
We're like, I don't know anyone else that's single.
You don't know anybody else that's single?
No, it's you.
I can't be the only person single.
Yes, that I know.
You don't know enough people.
I know a ton of people. They're all married and miserable.
That's all right. That's all right.
they'll be single at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me know who gets divorced. It wasn't
Oh, I take the divorce.
Oh, that's not fair.
Yeah, that's the best thing when someone calls you up and says, I'm having problems. I said, we need to find you a place immediately.
Oh, you're such a jerk.
You better hurry up.
That's funny.
Marcus, no.
All right.
All right, guys.
Thanks so much. We'll see you guys in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Bye.